Good morning, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So before I get started on this video, I would really like to give a shout out, a plug to Boom, Bubble, Bust, Repeat. I really encourage everybody to go down into the descriptions and take a look at the link that I'm going to leave down there for Boom, Bubble, Bust, Repeat's YouTube channel. He has put together some really thought out, well-edited videos, and anybody who knows anything about putting videos together as far as editing them and going from transitions and overlays and narrations, it's a lot of work and effort, and it's a lot of fun to do when you really get into the video editing process of things. And it's really encouraging on YouTube when you see people start to engage on your video. So that's why I'm plugging his channel. Okay, guys. So please go down, check out Boom, Bubble, Bust, Repeat. Check out some of his videos. Give him some thumbs up. Give him some comments. Subscribe to his channel, and let's see what else he can come up with, because he has done a really good job on the videos he's done so far, and I'd like to see him do some more. All right. So today I thought I'd come out and talk a little bit about the that Trump conference speech. What was it? The I don't know, the press interview that he did yesterday. And it's pretty good, because anybody who's been following my channel here, I've been talking a lot about something called credible threats, and credible threats is what I feel is the primary tool that's going to be coming out of like the Federal Reserve and probably out of the government as well, as far as dealing with the economy and the monetary policy. See, like the Federal Reserve has pretty much been sitting on their hands for months, but yet everybody's talking about the Fed's actions, which they haven't done anything. They've had credible threat, which is their words. They said that they're going to do certain things that they may or may not do, but they haven't really done anything for months, right? Interest rates went up to 2.5%, and they've stayed there for a while now. Anyway, these credible threats was basically described by a Ben Bernanke's speech. This is where I saw it. Gone back to 2002, and the way he describes credible threats is with a guy who invents a gold machine, and with this gold machine he can pretty much produce as much gold as he wants at will. The moment that information gets out to the markets about this gold machine, the price of gold will immediately drop, regardless of how much the guy has even produced, even if he hasn't produced a single amount of gold yet. Just the information alone, the credible threat that the guy has this machine, will cause the price of gold to drop. And that is what we're referring to when we talk about credible threat. And in the China deal, it's so funny. Like, I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to the China deal, except for to know that it's going on. I wait for the deal to actually take place, and then I look at that. Because until then, it's just talk, right? And this China deal is the best deal ever made. There's never been a better deal than the China deal, right? If it happens. Right? And what's funny about it is that he says it's going to be a great deal for everybody. It's the greatest deal for everybody across the world, right? It's a great deal for China. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, it's a great deal for who? And he says it's a greater deal, it's a fairer deal. It's a fair deal for the U.S. And I'm like, wait a minute here. So it's a great deal for China. Is it a greater deal for China, or is it a less greater deal for China? So China has to take a loss. Is that the reason why this deal hasn't gone through? See, China really likes the deal right now. They send all kinds of stuff to us, right? But what Trump is saying is that it's going to go the other way. They're going to start buying stuff from us. And this is where it's going to be a good deal. How is that a good deal for China? See, China sells us everything. They don't have to buy nothing, right? Well, they do buy some stuff, but they don't have to, right? I mean, there's a huge, they're selling us, we're in deficit with them on their goods. So what that means is that China has to take a loss on it, and this is why it hasn't happened. And even Trump says it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks before this thing has ever come through, maybe another 4 weeks. Even though the toughest parts have gone through, now it's easier from here on out with all the trade, with the deal for China, but it's still going to take another 4 weeks. This is nothing but credible threats. It may not even happen. It's the best deal ever, good deal for everybody, including China, who I know it isn't a good deal for them because they're on the best deal it is right now. America's looking for a better deal from China. So nothing but credible threats. And then I see this Bloomberg article that Tim sent me that says that the commodities that China has to purchase doesn't have to start taking place until 2025. Is that right? Like in 5-6 years from now? So yeah, that's a really good deal for the farmers and everybody. What if you gear up for this deal, right? You're thinking, okay, they're going to be buying a mass amount of goods and services or commodities or whatever that's going to be coming from us from this deal. And a bulk of it's going to be happening in 2025, gearing up for this. So farmers across America gear up for it, causes this nice boom to America, but then China goes to buy it and they say, sorry, we can't, we don't have the money. Well, we're not going to. or, you know, whatever, or what's the fine to not buy the goods, right? Because that'll just be the cost of doing business after, you know, what. So, yeah, deal, no deal, is there a deal? It's all credible threats, right? Wait until the deal is actually done. If there's a deal that's signed, then you'll know something's happening. The border, this border thing is just, he brings up the border, it is just, this has been such a good deal. This has been such a credible threat for these guys. What were they? The border has able to shut down government, and it's able to deal with the Mexican government trying to deal with the influx of people trying to come across the border, right? And he says he literally uses this term: the closing of the border is real, but what is more real is the 25% tariff on their imported cars, right? So let me ask you guys something. There's real, and then there's more real. This was what he said about the border. He goes, yeah, the closing of the border is a real threat, right? It's a real threat. But what's even more real is the 25% tariff that will inflict upon Mexican governments or the economy if they don't deal with the influx of people trying to come across the border. So real, more real. Credible threats, right? I mean, anyway, we'll move on. This is a funny one. Reduction in weapons, right? He said that all these countries, Russia, China, America, is weaponizing their countries. There are massive amounts of weapons. Everybody's weaponizing their countries at a massive amounts. A ridiculous amount of weapons in America is at the top of it, right? He says probably we should do something about that. He looks over at I don't know if it was who was sitting there next to him. I didn't quite get that, but it was obviously some Chinese official there, and he looks over at him and he says, yeah, I mean, you know, wouldn't that be a good idea? I mean, I don't want to speak out of line here, but I mean, has we ever thought about de-weaponizing at all? I mean, he didn't say it like that, but he said, talk about this whole weaponizing. Oh, and the guy says, yeah, that would probably be a good idea. And he goes, I don't know. We haven't talked about that. They haven't talked about peace at all. Sorry, I don't mean to get mad about that, but it's touching. That one hit me, you know, when I was just like, you guys haven't talked about peace at all. They talked about making a lot of weapons. Ridiculous. He even used that term, ridiculous amount of weapons. Okay. Sorry, guys. Moving on. What else did he talk about? Oh, Herman Cain. Yeah. So here he is. All right, guys, let me try this again. So he has this issue with Powell, right? Powell is the like bad news for the Fed. The Fed should have been, it was loco for raising interest rates. They are completely like, you know, wrong about this. He cannot be more in disagreement with the Federal Reserve with their stance right now than anybody, right? He could not be. And yet he wants to inject Herman Cain into the brains of the Federal Reserve. Right? He doesn't want to put him as chairman of the Federal Reserve. See, he doesn't like Powell. See, Powell doesn't do anything. Powell's a spokesperson, right? Powell just like, the FOMC is a group of people that behind the scenes, right, who do the monetary discussions and what they're actually going to do about it. And then Powell says, hey, this is what the FOMC has decided. Oh, I'm going to get rid of you. You're nothing more than the messenger. But yet, we're going to get rid of you because I don't like you, and we're going to inject somebody into the brains of the Federal Reserve, like Herman Cain, who is like a gold standard type of dude. This guy wants to raise interest rates. It is completely opposite of what you've been reading in the news about how President Trump feels about the Federal Reserve. He feels the Federal Reserve was loco for raising interest rates, right? They're crazy for doing it, that they should have had dropped interest rates and keep the economy going, that it would have been in a much better place. And yet he wants to put into place at the Federal Reserve a guy who believes in the gold standard. Completely opposite of the mindset of what he is portraying out there to the media. Fake news. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying not to get emotional over that, but it just drives me nuts when I see stuff like that. Anyway, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave links down there in the description. Please go check out Boom, Bubble, Bust, Repeat. He does some great work out there, and I would really like to encourage his channel to do more. All right? Uneducated Economist, talk to you later.